Haley, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. I saw that it looks like Kim was on here a little bit ago too, but maybe she has to rejoin since I hadn't started anything yet. So that's okay. Um, I just walked back into the office, so I'm going to go use the restroom really quick before we get started. So if anybody else joins in, just say hello and I'll be there shortly.
Okay.
Ding. Alex, do we have our presenter on here yet?
I don't think yet. No, his name is Tom Kistler.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see that either. Okay. I'm gonna double check and make sure that I know how to add him as a host. This is all new. I haven't um used Zoom in a while. Oh, I have it set as all participants can share anyway, um, so I think he should be able to share. We'll find out. If not, we'll have to have a group chat to figure out how to do it all. There, I see Tom just joined us, it looks like. Hi, Tom.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. And I'm Andrea. I'm the one whose Zoom account is hosting this.
Okay.
It looks like I have it set that anybody can share their screen. So I
Okay.
would like for you to try that before we officially get started, because if it doesn't work, we got to figure out on my end how to make that happen. I haven't used Zoom in a while, I have to be honest. So,
Ah, well, this is my first time, so
oh my goodness.
I'm. We use Microsoft. Oh gosh, I can't think of the
Teams.
name. Teams. Yes, thank you. That's kind of our go-to. But so let me see. If, oh, here we go. Share screen.
Perfect.
Can you see it?
Yes, we
Okay.
can. You could just leave that right there as it is. As
Okay.
long as we can all see everybody else's faces or names, we're good to go.
Can you still see the full thing, or?
Uh, it looks like there is the main screen on the left, and then on the right, it shows the next slide. So I don't
Okay.
know if that's the,
Yeah.
um,
Let me fix that. I gotta
okay.
change the screen that I'm sharing. It wants to share kind of in a weird way. So let me share this one, and then I will click back into my presentation. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So are you ready for me to get started or are we waiting on?
No, it just a second here. We're waiting
Okay.
on, I just noticed a couple more people just joined us and we're going to do a little introduction first.
Okay.
So hang tight. We'll get to you shortly. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, well, since it is 10:02, I figure we might as well go ahead and get started. And we know that our guest speaker is ready. So Tom, hang tight there for just a little bit. We want to welcome everybody to our second roundtable of the year here at the CFLP Solid Waste District. Our goal of the roundtable programs is to get more information out about recycling to our industrial and business audiences throughout the CFLP Solid Waste District areas, which is Coshocton, Fairfield, Licking, and Perry counties. There are some really specific things, items that are being recycled, and there are some really great success stories at some of our businesses and industries that we thought we would share. So that's why we are here today. A little bit about CFLP, like I mentioned, it encompasses Coshocton, Fairfield, Licking, and Perry counties, and we are one of over 50 solid waste districts in the state of Ohio. Solid waste districts were formed back in the late 1980s in response to House Bill 592, which was a solid waste regulatory bill. It required waste management planning and the need to reduce reliance on landfill use. And of course, it placed an emphasis on reuse, recycling, and other minimization efforts. So we have staffs at each of our counties, as well as our solid waste district office. And I'm just going to quickly introduce those people. I don't think we need to go through all kinds of, pomp and circumstance or anything, but I'll just introduce everybody's name. And if you folks can wave out there and at least say hello real quick, that would be great. And then we will get to who our business and industry folks are with us today, because it's always helpful for us to know where you are from and what your business or industry does. So I'm Andrea Crava from Licking County's recycling program. And we also have Haley McClure, who is with Perry County. She's one of our educators. We have Alex Nelson from Coshocton County. She is the director educator. We have Jenny Colometz, who is over in Fairfield County, and Carrie Murphy, who is also in Fairfield County. She's also one of the educators for our group. We have Matt Reed, who's down in Perry County. He's the director down there. We have Kate Campbell and Kim Masters, who are telling us that their video is not working today, but they are the director and the assistant director over at the Solid Waste District office. So you guys have lots of resources with you today if you have any questions about our specific counties or just the solid waste district as a whole. So real quick too, I would like to go through who our business and industry folks are and do a quick introduction of yourselves. Again, I'll name you off, but then you can turn on your video and your audio so that way we can know who you are and where you're from and what your business or industry is. So it looks like first we have Cheyenne Fowler.
Hi, Cheyenne Fowler. I work for Our Ace Hardware in Coshocton. And like I said, just kind of curious what the recycling program is about.
Great. We have Kevin Lloyd, who I know is from Licking County. We talked.
Yes, we did. I am the environmental specialist here at Covestro in Hebron, and I'm just trying to reach out and look more into what other people do for recycling and looking for some opportunities for us as well.
And
Thanks for
what does
having me.
Covestro do again? I forget.
We are a plastics compounding facility, so.
Got it. And interestingly enough, everybody, Kevin's dad used to be the director of Licking County Recycling. So he is in it, since birth, I think, here. So we're glad you're here, Kevin. Looks like we have Jared Champagne.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, having trouble with the video. So my name is Jared Champagne. I'm the purchasing manager over here at Ohio Fabricators in Coshocton. We are a manufacturing facility, and again, just interested in what these programs have to offer. So looking
Great.
forward to hearing what you guys have to say.
Excellent, thank you. And I don't think we're missing any, but well, there's a few people that signed up that aren't here, but I think all we have left is Tom Kistler. But we're going to turn things over to Alex from Coshocton County. She knows Tom, and she's going to give us a little bit of introduction, and then we'll turn things over to you, Tom. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everybody.
Hey guys. So like Andrea said, my name is Alex Nelson. I'm the director and the educator for Coshocton County Recycling. So I'm very happy to see a couple familiar faces in the Coshocton people today. Thank you everyone for joining us. Like Andrea said today, our speaker is Tom Kistler. He is from McWane Ductile over here in Coshocton. This location of McWane, they have ductile iron pipe, and they also have poles for electrical manufacturing that they produce over there. They're actually the only ductile iron pipe foundry here in the Midwest, which is kind of cool. It's a huge facility, really, really awesome what they have over there. But today, Tom is going to be talking to us a little bit. He's been at McWane for 9 years. He's currently the assistant environmental manager. He oversees the poles facility. He handles all the waste generated at both of the facilities over there at McWane. So with all of that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tom. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I had stopped sharing there so I could see everybody's faces. So hopefully, just let me know if you guys can see the presentation or not. Here, there we go. Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so as Alex said, my name's Tom Kistler. I've been with McWane for about 9 years. I'll give you a little bit of background on McWane Inc. So a lot of people in here in Coshocton would probably remember it as Clow. It was Clow since the early 1900s. It was actually bought by McWane Inc. in the 1980s, and we just recently changed our name in like 2014 to McWane, but it's actually been owned by McWane for a long time. The cool thing about that is McWane is a big organization. So we have facilities in Utah, New Jersey, we're in Canada, we're in Abu Dhabi, we're in Australia, we're in China. So we have a large network of people to pull from, which is really great when you're looking for ideas and you're wanting to share ideas with people. So McWane is a large organization that's a lot bigger than just what's here in Coshocton. So who is McWane Ductile, Ohio? So we have 2 campuses here. We actually have our McWane Ductile, Ohio campus, which has been around since the early 1900s. And then we purchased a facility directly across the street called McWane Poles. So I'll get into that a little bit more here in just a second. But we are a ductile iron, water pipe, and utility pole manufacturing facility here in Coshocton. We have about 550 employees here on campus, so we're a pretty large manufacturing facility. We use about 95% or more scrap in the production of our poles, so there's very little raw material that actually goes into the production of our water lines and our utility poles. So it's mostly auto shred and what we call plate and structural, which would be bridges and buildings and anything large that they tear down that's just large chunks of iron. We've been here, like I said, since the early 1900s, and a lot of the pipe that we made even back then is still in use. So ductile iron has a really long lifespan. It's thick, it's durable, it resists corrosion. So ductile iron, a lot of people will tell you over 100 years. Around 100 years is the expected lifespan of ductile iron in the ground. So, we say it is a very environmentally friendly product. So obviously it's, mostly recycled material and it lasts a really long time. So those are both really good things that we've got going for our product. McWane Poles. So the other side of this equation is McWane Poles. So we started McWane Poles back around 2013, 2014 timeframe. We purchased the Old Pretty Products building here in Coshocton, and we started manufacturing ductile iron utility poles. So instead of manufacturing a cylinder, which is what the water pipe is that we've made for 100 years, basically we cast a cone shape. It's just very slightly tapered, and we're able to take those sections that we cast from large to small and stack them on top of each other and make these ductile iron utility poles that you see here. So at the bottom there, I snapped this picture this morning. So this is actually a stack of our poles that are freshly painted and manufactured and ready to go out to the utilities. So the nice thing there again about our utility poles, ductile iron has a really long lifespan. But outside of that, if you think about a lot of the places where utility poles, wooden utility poles are used, they're subject to things like fires. You think about out west, anytime they have a major fire, all your utility poles burn up. That's a huge problem. Insect damage, woodpeckers, things like that will attack your utility poles. Obviously, we don't have to worry about that. And then one of the biggest areas where our poles have been used is in the south, where you get hurricanes. They'll go through and because they are a little bit more expensive than wood, they'll do what's called hardening the lines. So they'll use them about every third pole. And if they have a hurricane or something, tornado roll through, a lot of the wooden poles will snap, but you still have infrastructure in place where you can go back and you can put up, the other poles, and you still have lines standing. So that's where a lot of these are used. Ice storms, they use them for areas of the south that get ice storms, of the Midwest that get ice storms. So they're again to harden the line. So we like to think of them as a very environmentally friendly product because they're sustainable, they're recycled, and they last a really long time. All right, so what do we do here at McWane? Obviously, our recycling goals, we want to reuse or recycle everything we possibly can. It's something that we look at every year. We spend a lot of time scratching our heads, talking to people, trying to find ways to reduce, reuse, and recycle. At the end of every year, we look at all of our waste streams, everything that we've generated for the year. We go through, review any fresh ideas we have. We reach out to our sister facilities, and we try to come up with new ways to recycle. One of the things that we do that I wanted to highlight that is I really enjoy participating in is something that we call the Keep It Clean Challenge. So when I talked about earlier, McWane has all these facilities all over the country and all over the world for that matter. The cool thing is you have all these environmental professionals that have this vast wealth of knowledge. And what we do is we have this competition where, if you have an idea for something that's really never been done before, you can submit it in this Keep It Clean Challenge. So if you find a really unique way to reuse a particular item, a super sack or a drum, or reduce the amount of a raw material you're using because you change this process. Those things are brought out in this competition, and you can win money. So basically what they do is they have a panel of outside judges. Everybody presents their ideas, and then we award money. That's what people want, right? So basically we're paying team members for their good ideas. And when you think about 550 individuals here at McWane Ductile, Ohio, a lot of our good ideas don't necessarily come from myself or from Beth Mullen, our environmental manager. A lot of times it's people on the floor that are doing these processes that come up with these good ideas. And just to go around and ask people, you get a lot of head scratching and things like that. But if you say, hey, I've got money, give me your ideas, they're willing to come forth with these ideas and get them out there. So that's something that I enjoy doing every year. It's a yearly competition. And then we share those. So one of the sayings that we have here at McWane is win together. We win together, we lose together. So all the McWane facilities buy into that. And when we have a good idea, we share it with our sister facilities because everybody wants to, help protect the planet. So if we have something here at our foundry that can benefit the New Jersey or the Utah foundry, we go to them and we say, hey, here's what we're doing. Have you thought about this? So, all right, so we'll get into some of the things that we do. So what do we reuse? So a lot of the items that we can't necessarily recycle or we don't recycle, we do at least try to reuse, right? So things like our exempt cupola slag. So, we bring all this iron in, we melt it in our cupola, The iron comes out, we make pipes, we make poles with it. But one of the byproducts of that process is something called slag. So all the impurities that are within that iron come out, and they actually flow out a different trough, and they come out, and it goes into these molds, and it breaks up, and it looks almost like a gravel. It's like kind of reminds you of a black glass almost, but the way that it breaks up, it's about the size of gravel, and we're able to give that to the landfill. And what they do is they use it for their road. So I'll get more into that in a minute, but that's one of the things that we reuse. Pallets. So we used to just throw our pallets away, which seems kind of crazy, but now we reuse every one that we can. We actually get a credit for those. We have a company that comes in and gets them. Acetone. So we use a lot of acetone in our painting process, especially at McWane poles. So what we would do is after we paint a pole, we have to flush our line with acetone to clean it until we're ready to paint the next batch of poles. Well, we were throwing all that acetone away as hazardous waste. So we found this device it's called an acetone recycling station, and essentially it recycles the acetone. There again, I've got another slide. I'll get into that more in a minute. 55-gallon drums. So we buy a lot of paint and a lot of raw material in 55-gallon drums. So we are able to reuse those for different things. Super sacks, we can reuse super sacks multiple times. 300-gallon totes, we don't have a ton of them, but we do reuse the ones that we can. And then metal timber. So if you see any of our product going down the road, you'll see that they're stacked in rows on wooden timbers. The wooden timbers we send out because we don't really get those back. But within the facility, when we transfer our pipe and our pole sections, we're switching to steel. We still call them timbers, but essentially they're dividers that divide the rows of the pipe and the pole sections. So we're able to reuse those multiple times without having to throw them away. All right, so the acetone recycling station. So this is what it looks like. It is essentially, it works the same way as a moonshine still. You take the acetone paint mixture, you put it into the machine, it heats it up, and the acetone becomes gaseous, comes off the top, goes down through a cooling coil that's filled with water, and it recondenses back into acetone that's ready to use again. It's a really slick system. It's pretty simple. It just takes a little bit of cooling water and some power. But that has allowed us to reuse that acetone multiple times. And we just add a little bit of virgin acetone in every so often to keep the potency up. But you can reuse the acetone 4, 5, 6 times before it kind of loses that potency. So some of the other things that we reuse, like I talked about, totes, we'll get water-soluble hydraulic oil in totes. We get some paint in totes. We used to throw those totes away. We would just crush them and get rid of them. Now we're working with some vendors to try to send them back. Some will accept them back, some won't. But the ones that we can't send back, we're reusing for waste disposal. So things that we used to put in drums, now we can put in totes. We can store a lot more. So a lot of our paint acrylic water from the painting process of the poles, we're able to put that in these totes and send it out. So we're not buying containers to ship waste in. And then our drums, as I said, we use a lot of drums. We get a lot of paint in, acrylic paint, epoxy paint in these drums. Are we able to reuse those for certain things? So the ones that have the epoxy paint in, it's a little thicker, a little nastier. We're able to put things like grinding waste and grinding dust in those that goes to the landfill. And then the drums that have the acrylic waste in them, they're a little bit cleaner. We use those for all of our scrap metal that we're able to recycle through our process. And we will send those back across the street where they get charged into our cupola and made back into more pipe. As I talked about the cupola slag, so this is kind of what it looks like here. It just looks like black gravel. For years, it's just gone to the landfill, and technically it still does. It eventually gets buried in the landfill, but it does two things. It allows us to reuse it in a certain way, so it's not just being buried for no use, and then it allows the landfill to not have to buy a raw material. So they're not going out and buying gravel that was mined out of the ground to put down on their roads in their landfill that's just going to get buried. So they take the slag, they put it down, they use it as gravel, and it's a win-win for both of us. We get a discount through the EPA on our disposal costs for that slag, which is really nice. So what do we recycle? So that's some of the stuff that we reuse. Recycling. So universal waste, obviously that's something that we have to do, but we try to choose, we try to partner with facilities that do actually recycle that stuff. Ferrous and non-ferrous metals. So anything that's ferrous that we can recycle on site, charge into our cupola and make into more pipe is just more profit for us. So we recycle all the metal that we possibly can. And then anything non-ferrous, so your coppers and aluminums and things like that, we send off site. We have a third-party company that we use that we send all of our non-ferrous metals to. So we do a really good job of not letting any metal get out of here in the dump. Shop rags and gloves. So a lot of people don't think about this. I was just in Canada at one of our sister facilities, and I said, "Hey, why don't you guys reuse your rags and your gloves?" And he said, "I didn't even know that was an option." So a lot of these companies will pick up, like uniform companies, will take oily rags and gloves. They'll launder them. They'll bring them back so you can reuse them. So that's something that we do here. Used oil. So all of our used oil gets collected on site and shipped out to be re-refined and put back into use. E-waste, so all, that falls in with universal waste, but all of our computer products, we save all those and ship them to a company that tries to refurbish what they can and then recycle the rest. And then our commingle waste. So this one's fairly easy. So cardboard, paper, cans, bottles. We've struggled a little bit with our cardboard and our paper. Our paper recycler got mad because there was some food and things that was getting mixed in with it, and they cut us off. And then obviously when Stone Container left the town here, our cardboard recycling got a little harder because now we can't just take it and drop it off over there. We have to pay somebody to take it. So like I said, universal and e-waste. So we send those to a licensed recycling facility. We have a company that they try to reuse what they can. So old laptops, screens, things like that. They pull those out, they refurbish them, they put them back into use, and then anything else they recycle. Batteries and all that stuff is also recycled. Scrap metal, non-ferrous metal. So the top picture there, that's our non-ferrous metal hopper. So basically anything, like I said, copper, aluminum, brass, that all gets put in there. We segregate everything we can and ship it to a third-party company that recycles it. And then the bottom picture that you can see there, that's our scrapyard. So those piles are like 50 feet high. So it's an enormous, you can almost see kind of on the left there's an excavator that looks pretty small compared to those piles. So at any given time, we have a lot of scrap metal here on our facility. Commingled. So as I talked about, we kind of struggled with our paper and our cardboard recycling. So waste management is who we ship our waste with, and we have a really good relationship with them, but they don't offer a route in this area with like a flip top, like a 4 or 6 yard hopper, kind of like the dumpster you would see behind most businesses. So that's how they handle a lot of their recyclables, but they don't have a route out here in Coshocton. And so they actually custom build us these 15-yard roll-off boxes. They put these lids on there for us. They made these up at their yard. And so we're able to keep these outside. We're able to put our cans, our bottles, our paper, and our cardboard in these, which is really nice. Before we were struggling to find an outlet for our cardboard and our paper. So we've got this program rolling now, and it's working really well. We generate, as you can imagine, a lot of cardboard, a fair amount of paper, and then a lot of cans and bottles. So future opportunities, like I said, we're always on the lookout for new opportunities for recycling. Whether it's through competitions, whether it's through our sister facilities. We do use the Ohio EPA's material marketplace, although we haven't had a whole lot of luck with finding partners through there. We do keep our material on there. And we're always looking for new partners, like I said. So if anybody out there has any fresh ideas, we have some pretty large waste streams that I would love to find opportunities for. The biggest thing we struggle with is our geographic isolation. I think if we were in Dublin, Ohio, or somewhere next to a big city, we would probably have a lot more opportunity to reuse some of the waste streams that we have. The thing that kills us is the transportation costs. being out in Coshocton, by the time you pay to ship the material somewhere, you can typically buy raw material cheaper. So it's a big limiting factor for us. So that is one of the roadblocks that we keep running into. That's pretty much it. I don't know if anybody has any questions about what we're doing here, but we're pretty proud of our recycling program, and we are always looking for opportunity to do more. And if anybody has any ideas, please reach out.
Thank you, Tom. I thought that was really good information. I think one of the things, I'll add this, and of course, if anybody has any other questions too, but I think one of the things that I deal with when businesses or industries call me about some of these specific type items to recycle, of course, they're not places that we deal with on a regular basis. I mean, at least here in Lincoln County, we deal mostly with residential waste and the recycling. So we don't deal with slag and things like that that you have. Do you have a list of places or businesses that you recycle with that you might be willing to share, at least with those of us who are with the solid waste district? So that way, when other companies like Covestro or Ace Hardware or anybody calls us, we could at least give those as resources.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't really have, a list offhand, but I could put one together pretty easy.
That would be great if you could get that to Alex and then she could get that to us. I had a company here in Licking County that did that for me a few years ago, and it's been extremely helpful for me, at least when some of these folks call me, because I have no idea what to do with oil waste and things like that. So it's been very helpful to know who some of these businesses are that they've worked with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Tom. Does anybody have any other questions?
No, but I do have something to add. At Ace Hardware, we do recycle all of our cardboard, and that's with Kimball. They actually do a flip top, and they have a truck route that comes through. We have our cardboard picked up twice a week. For the same reason with Stone Container closing, it really didn't have an outlet for it. But they do have a flip top that they pick up with the truck twice a week.
Yeah, we have a contract with Waste Management. That's one of the reasons we use them. Kimball did offer that when they bid on our waste contract the last time, which was also a benefit for going with them. But obviously it boils down to cost because we generate a lot of waste. So I would love it. So Waste Management says they're working on that, and it's in the works. They're wanting to extend their routes this way, so it's just a matter of time until they get it. But essentially what we do is we just have this roll off, and they come once a month and take it, and that seems to work for us. So right now we're in pretty good shape, but it was a struggle to get here. There's not a lot of people that really want cardboard unless you bale it, and it's a lot of work to bale it. I mean, you have to buy a baler, and you have to have somebody to manage it, and so that was.
And you have to store the bales on a dry location until they're ready to pick up. So,
there's a lot of challenges that go into baling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. If you ever got into the point where you were bailing or something like that, if you needed resources, what we do in Fairfield and Perry County is a little different than Coshocton. We do work with vendors directly that buy our baled cardboard and paper here. So if you ever needed resources, if you got to that point, as far as like who's paying the most for bales of shredded paper or mixed paper, cardboard, things like that. I'm sure Matt or I could share that with you, and there are opportunities you guys do a lot as far as a company, compared to a lot of other companies as far as using the waste that you have and trying to do something, reusing it. But there are grants out there where you probably could get a good amount of help buying a baler if that's what. I don't know exactly how much cardboard you guys produce though, but.
I think we definitely have enough that we could benefit from a baler. But when you go to them and they're like, well, we can just pay somebody to take it without being baled, it's like, okay, but we probably pay more. It would probably pay for itself because we're paying somebody to take the waste away, whereas we could get somebody to probably to purchase
Yeah.
the barrels and
And
stuff.
if you had, I mean, the market fluctuates a lot, but I mean, I
Sure.
get paid for my semi truckloads of cardboard versus
Yeah.
versus me paying somebody to haul it away.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
At certain times, I'm getting paid a couple $1,000s for a semi truckload of cardboard. At
Sure.
the low times, it went down to $500 for a truckload, but
Yeah.
I am getting paid for it throughout the ups and downs of the market.
Sure.
So if you ever go that route, Matt or I could help you with some of the who we get our quotes from competitively and things like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Doesn't seem like it. So I think we're going to turn things over to either Haley or Carrie. I can't remember. So either of you two can go ahead and take over. And thank you, Tom, for all of that information. We just have a little bit more information about business and industry recycling that, like I said, either Haley or Carrie is going to take over with. So take it away, ladies.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom, for speaking. That's amazing. And it's awesome to know that you are using the Ohio Materials Marketplace created by EPA. So the Ohio Material Marketplace, for those that aren't aware, is a online platform the Ohio EPA created to connect industries together to find another resource for their waste in a sustainable manner. So what one man's trash is another man's treasure, essentially. It's a fairly new platform. They've made some changes within the past year or two, but it's a great online platform. It's fairly new again, so there's not a lot of people out there, but I feel as more industries get involved with this platform, it's going to be a really great tool. Always check with any of the recycling centers. I know I can speak for our whole solid waste district that each one of us is always happy to help you connect with resources, or if you're not sure how to get rid of something, reach out to us. If we don't have the answer, we might go to a conference or a networking event that we can find a direct solution for your solid waste. Sometimes it takes a while, but we're always willing to help. That's all I have for today. So Haley, go ahead and take it over on your bit.
Yeah, so I don't know if we mentioned it, but unfortunately, we cannot service private businesses, but we can accept your materials. In Perry, we have quite a few businesses that bring their cardboard to us. They either have trucks or they have some trailer that they use, and they bring us our cardboard instead of putting it in their dumpster. So one business has saved up to $3,000 or more in a year by bringing us their cardboard. So they used to have their dumpster pulled multiple times a week. Once they started bringing us their cardboard, that's dropped. So they maybe do once a week, every other week, depending on how much cardboard and trash that they've been producing. But that is one of the benefits to recycling. You're going to save money by not having to have your dumpsters pulled as much. And like Carrie and Andrea said, if you guys have any questions, even after this, I know I always think of questions after the fact. Feel free to reach out to any of us. We can make sure you have all of our contact information. We're just here to help you.
I wanted to add before we wrap things up, it looks like we had somebody join us partway through, but there's not a name attached to it. It says server. Would that person like to let us know who you are? If you have a chance, I'll give you a second here to unmute and get back on the call here. Maybe not. So not sure who that is. Well, anyway, if anybody does have any questions, hopefully you know who your contact is at each of our 4 counties. If not, you can always email Nikki, who works here in my office. She was the email that you, or she has the email that you signed up for this with, and she can get the information to any of us that can help you, especially if it's specific to a certain county or whatnot.
Andrea,
Yes,
she sent a
Jenny.
message. It's Angie Waters. She's from Winmar Farms in Coshocton. Well, West Lafayette, Coshocton.
Angie Waters, you said.
Yep.
Oh, I think I just saw it on the chat here.
Yeah,
Yep, there
I
it
just
is.
saw it.
Excellent.
Yep, I just saw it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So
They have a very large farm in Coshocton County.
got it. Okay. Anybody from CFLP, Kim, Kate, anybody else from the other counties want to add anything before we wrap things up? Okay. Well, Tim, thank you again, or Tom, I'm sorry. Tom, thank you again for joining us. Your presentation was really interesting. And again, if anybody needs information, contact us at each county, or if you really only have the information where you signed up, go ahead and email Nikki. She works here in my office and she will get you to who can help you best. So at that, I think we'll wrap things up. Thank you all very much for joining us, and stay tuned. We'll probably do a couple more of these next year as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.